his marriage with Kim starts to really like publicly unravel around this time. A lot of people had speculated that he was bipolar, but Kim starts speaking publicly about it for the first time after Kanye goes on this crazy Twitter rant about how Kris Jenner was trying to lock him up.
I remember that, yeah.
And he's like, Kris trying to bring a doctor to lock me up with the doctor. If I get locked up like Mandela, y'all will know why. And so Kim like posts this huge thing that is like, please, like, we need compassion and empathy, like, respect the privacy of my family, which I have a lot of complicated takes on, but
the privacy of the Kardashians.
I know, yeah. Right? I mean,
well, I think I do want to say here, like, you know, I know I said I hate crazy people earlier. I've known a lot of crazy motherfuckers in my life. I used to work at a nut house. I actually being crazy fucking sucks, and being a crazy famous person has got to be horrible because the manic episodes that people go through in their day-to-day lives. I'm sure that many listeners here have known people or have themselves gone through like a manic episode. You do stuff that is fucking outrageous sometimes and like difficult. Like that when you come down from it, it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around and to have like a hugely public platform where this kind of stuff happens. It's like I have a feeling it can build upon itself, and like one manic episode can beget another because you like being in the fallout from that continuously, you actually have the ability to shape your world.
Exactly.
Whereas people who are like maybe normal and have go through a manic episode, like you cannot do all these projects that you dream up. Kanye can.
Yeah. Yeah, she calls him a brilliant and complicated person, and that's all well and good, but she files for divorce next year. And then I think everybody knows all of the contentious shit that follows from that with Pete Davidson. And I remember all that shit.
Yes.
Okay, so that is like some of the Kanye stuff, but now it all turns when he just really becomes vocally anti-Semitic. And this is kind of starts around 2022, him and Candace Owens show up at the Yeezy show in Paris wearing White Lives Matter t-shirts. He makes all these comments that like LVMH is directly responsible for Virgil Abloh's death, and that like I think that actually pissed fashion people off more than the White Lives Matter shit, to be honest.
What did Virgil Abloh like? I was, because I know who he was, like, kind of.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember when this happened, I was like, did they kill Virgil Abloh or something? Like,
no, he was just, like, very privately battling cancer for a really long time.
I know, but it's like, there was, like, I feel like the Kanye thing made me be like, why? Like, and then I was like, why would they murder him?
Yeah. Well, he goes on like Skid Row and announces like, okay, I'm going to distribute all of these White Lives Matter shirts for free. He uses the opportunity to say a bunch of shit about Kim and Pete Davidson, obviously, but also the Jews. He says, I just saw on TMZ yesterday that Pete Davidson and Kim have sex by the fireplace to honor the grandmother. It's Jewish Zionists that's about that life. I have no idea what.
Is Pete Davidson Jewish?
I don't know.
Davidson's father was primarily of Jewish ancestry with some distant. His mother is Pete Davidson. Is he Jewish? Pete Davidson reflects on Israel-Hamas war in somber opening of Saturday Night Live.
Wait, is that real?
From Jerusalem Post. Wow.
That is, if you're, okay, setting aside if you're Pete Davidson, if you're SNL, do you really need to open up the show with Pete Davidson reflecting somberly on the Israel-Hamas war?
In the cold open, the Staten Island native spoke directly to the camera, reminding audiences that his father, he does not shut the fuck up about this.
About
a
the
New York
9/11
City
shit?
firefighter was killed in the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. This week, we saw the horrible images and stories from Israel and Gaza. And I know what you're thinking. Who better to comment on it than Pete Davidson?
That's actually a pretty good Pete Davidson you're doing.
Well, in a lot of ways, I'm a good person to talk about it because when I was 7 years old, my dad was killed in a terrorist attack. So I know something about what that's like. I saw so many terrible pictures this week of children suffering, Israeli children and Palestinian children. It took me back to a really horrible, horrible place. Should have cut on stage. No one in this world deserves to suffer like that, especially not Kim. Isn't he bipolar too?
I think there was something about that.
So Kim's just like rocking with that bipolar. We should check on Ray J's mental health. Kim just loves these bipolar individuals. It's just interesting, I think.
Okay, Kanye, at this moment, he comes out, he tweets the infamous, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
The I'm a bit sleepy tonight is gotta be one of the funniest things
It's really good.
anyone has ever. I'm a bit sleepy tonight.
Also,
I'm gonna
DEFCON
say-
3 is...
Yeah, DEFCON 3 is really good. I will say, when you're thinking about, like, top 5 posters, like, Kanye was always really, really good. And the bit,
yes.
I'm a bit sleepy tonight, it, like, speaks to the brilliance. I
Kanye's
think.
Jewish.
Wow.
Well, actually, he does claim that around this time.
Oh, that's right.
He does.
Because he goes on in that same tweet. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda.
So I want to stop you right there.
Okay.
The reason he says black people are actually Jew is because he has a theory, and I don't know, maybe he might have gotten this from somebody else. I don't know, but I've mostly heard him expound upon it, that black people are Jew. And Jewish people are, the reason that they're called Jewish is because they're Jewish. Like they're kind of like they're like Jews. But black people are actual Jews. Now,
What does he mean when he says actual Jews?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I mean, I know like
Because I feel like he's kind of like he's like dipping into some like black Israelite stuff.
yeah.
But
But
then
then
he's
Kyrie
like,
Irving and that kind of stuff, like black Israelite a little bit.
yeah.
But-
But I think he's just like third eye open woke.
I will say one time because listen, I really tried to make black Israelites like me for a long time. There used
That's
to be
tough.
a black Israelite fighter at my gym. I worked at a gym for a while. He was a really good fighter and he was a really nice guy. And I didn't know he was a black Israelite. And one day he walked in. He walked in. He was wearing like a black Israelite shirt, and I was like, "Oh, you're black Israelite?" He's like he was like, "Yeah," basically. And I was like, "Well," and he said something. He like me being Jewish came up, and I was like, "I don't care if you guys can be the real Jews. I don't really mind." And he was like, "Thank you." But he also would fake sick before all of his fights. He was like a really great natural boxer, but whenever he had a fight coming up, he would like basically fake it. He would like get in his head and fake an injury or fake illness.
Weird.
Anyways, one time I was at Powell Street, downtown San Francisco, and there was the black Israelites that used to hang out in front of Gap there. There's an incredible supercut of them doing racial slurs that is on YouTube and in fact saved my phone, where they have racial slurs.
You have brought this up before.
It is we cannot play it on this podcast because they do every slur. They do slurs against Aboriginals. I get on BART and I get off at 24th Street in Mission, and I come up and there is a group of Mexican or Latinx fucking Israelites there, and they're all also in cloaks.
How'd they get
and
into it?
I'm like, where did you guys come from?
Interesting.
And they all had, it was all in Spanish, and I can't really read it, but I can parse it out. They had like the same exact kind of thing, except they're like, we are the lost tribe of Israel. I say this to anybody out there who suspects they might be part of the lost tribe of Israel. All good. You are. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. You're Jewish. Believe me, once you start getting, you're Jew. No, you're Jew. I'm Jewish. But when you start getting, I'm just warning you, it's all fun and games. We control the media, banks, et cetera, according to Liz. But once you're at home by yourself, lights out, in bed, it's not good to be Jewish. It's not good. You know what I'm saying, Young Chomsky?
I've been there.
There's just a lot of neuroses.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.